Hello, and welcome. Today, we're diving into japa, the ancient practice of chanting. But we're not just going to look at it as some old ritual. We're going to explore it as a really sophisticated piece of technology, one designed to literally refine and reshape our own consciousness. Let's get into it.
So, let me ask you this. What if a simple sound, just something you repeat over and over, could actually reshape your inner world? I mean, really change your mental and emotional landscape. That's the core promise of the practice we're breaking down today. It's this idea that sound is way more than just something we hear. It's a tool, a powerful tool, we can use to fundamentally change ourselves from the inside out.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll see where japa fits on what's called the spiritual ladder. Then we'll get into the purpose of the call. Why do it in the first place? After that, we'll dig into the mechanics of repetition, then go beyond sound to the inner chant, and finally, we'll talk about the ultimate goal, becoming one.
Okay, so to really get a handle on japa, we first have to understand where it fits in the grand scheme of things. You see, a lot of spiritual paths are kind of structured like a ladder, designed to guide a person from all the external, physical stuff to the much more internal and subtle.
And there's this great Sanskrit word for this whole path, upasana. It literally means sitting near. So you can think of it as a process of just drawing closer and closer to a core truth or a higher state of being. It's a journey inward, and it has some really distinct stages.
So the journey usually starts with physical rituals, things you actually do with your body, like going on pilgrimages or making offerings. The next step up the ladder involves more internal, mental practices. And boom, right there in the middle, that's where we find japa, the chanting, and dhyana, meditation. They're the absolute crucial bridge that takes you from the outside world to that highest state of pure awareness, which is called samadhi.
All right, so why even start climbing this ladder? What's the point? What is that fundamental human need that chanting is supposed to answer? Well, the source material suggests it comes from this really profound sense of being trapped, of being lost.
The text uses this incredibly powerful analogy to describe the human condition. Picture an elephant with its foot caught in a crocodile's mouth. The elephant is desperately trying to get to dry land. That's our spiritual aspiration. But the crocodile keeps pulling it back into the water, and that represents all our worldly attachments. It's just a brutal image of being trapped and torn between two worlds, and that's the source of so much suffering.
And this is the core problem japa is designed to solve. We feel helpless, we feel lost, we feel fragmented. So the practice is a direct call, a tool to move us from that state of distress and get us towards security, wholeness, and a real sense of inner unity. It's basically a tool for finding our way back home.
So here's the crucial point. Japa isn't about flattering some external god with a bunch of praise. The source is really clear that a higher consciousness isn't swayed by flattery. No, japa is a profound psychological tool. It's the soul's cry to find the part of itself it has forgotten, like a mother cat searching for her lost kittens. It's a method for self-recollection and for, cleansing the mind of all the daily grime of our negative thought patterns.
Okay, so if that's the why of it all, what about the how? I mean, how can simple repetition actually have such a profound effect? This is where we get into the cool mechanics of it all.
Our minds can be incredibly stubborn, right? As hard and resistant as stone. A single thought might not make a dent, but think about the gentle, persistent friction of a rope being pulled over stone again and again and again. Over time, it can carve a deep and lasting groove. And that's exactly what the repetition of a mantra can do to our consciousness.
The source actually breaks this down into 4 stages that honestly mirror how we learn pretty much anything. First, you learn the new idea, the mantra. Through all that repetition, you achieve retention. It starts to become a part of your nature. Then comes recall, where the practice helps you remember some deeper, forgotten truth about who you really are. And finally, you reach recognition, where this truth isn't just an idea anymore. It's a core belief that you actually live by.
But here's where it gets really fascinating. This isn't just about psychological conditioning. The source really emphasizes that japa is also a physical science, a science of sound and vibration.
I mean, consider this for a second. Soldiers are famously told not to march in step when they cross a bridge. Why? Because the combined rhythmic vibration of all their steps can create a resonant frequency so powerful it can literally shatter the whole structure. This just goes to show you that synchronized vibration has immense physical power. So here's how the science is said to work. Mantras are crafted like specific keys, chosen for their unique vibrational quality. The rhythmic chanting creates a resonance in the body, which is said to awaken dormant energy centers. This whole process generates a subtle inner heat, which purifies the psychic system.
The source even compares it to how a radio station overlays a voice onto a carrier wave, which allows a tiny sound to travel instantly around the globe.
Now, as the practice deepens, it really starts to evolve. It moves from being something you do with your voice to something you simply listen to inside yourself. The focus shifts away from audible sound to a totally silent inner vibration.
So first, you have what's called a hat, or struck sound. This is pretty much any sound that's created by a physical collision, a drum being hit, a guitar string being plucked, or even our own vocal cords vibrating to make a chant. It's physical. It has a cause we can see and hear.
But the goal is to tune into anahat, or unstruck sound. This is the subtle, primordial vibration that is said to exist everywhere, all the time, without any physical cause. It's often described as the background hum of the universe itself. And this leads to a really profound shift. The practice transitions from chanting out loud to simply listening for the silent chant that is already happening inside you with every single breath. This is known as Soham meditation, where you just tune in to the subtle, natural sound of your own breathing. And that brings us to the final and most profound part of our journey, the ultimate goal. What is the point of all of this? What is the big realization that this entire practice is designed to lead you to?
The mantra that's associated with this inner sound is So Hum. It's a very simple Sanskrit phrase, and it translates to I am that.
But what on earth is that? Well, that refers to the universal divine consciousness. So the big realization is a total shift in your identity. It's moving from the illusion that I am this limited body and mind to the deep realization that I am one with universal consciousness. It's the collapse of that artificial wall between the individual soul, or Atma, and the universal soul, Paramatma.
Now, it is so important to get this right. This is not an ego trip. It's not about saying, I, this person, am God. It's the absolute opposite. It's the dissolution of the ego. It's the realization that the individual wave was never actually separate from the ocean in the first place. The entire practice is just a technology for experiencing that unity directly.
So we'll end with this question for you to think about. The source material frames this whole practice as a call to find what we feel we've lost, whether that's peace or connection or just a sense of purpose. What are you calling for?